Alright, so here's the next step in the bike project. I just wanted to see and show how I progressed so far. And it's really kind of a fluid project, as I mentioned in the intro, but I'm just going to show you how I got started off on it. And basically how it happened is I went first, got an existing bike that I was going to salvage some parts off of and recycle some of that, and basically made a list of constraints that needed to be met for it to actually work, for me to actually write it. So that's something that had to be addressed. These are real critical pieces that needed to be looked at and will actually have to be very rigidly applied to. And then I also made a salvage list, stuff I wanted to take off the old bike, and then just some things that I wanted out of the bike in terms of looks and style. And then also some trouble spots, things I felt needed to be paid extra attention to, just so that they would be done right and they'll look good. Then from there I made some concept drawings. You can see how just a small change of where the curve would start in the bike frame would actually make a drastic look to the bike. So that's really important to pay attention to. And there's a ton more where these came from too. I mean, this is not the end all. I didn't just do 2 of them. So, I mean, when you're doing yours, definitely draw out a bunch of different ideas. And then from that combination of the constraints and some early design drawings, I made up a final design concept. And all this is really is how the bike is going to look. It has some of the key measurements that have to be met. Like the distance from the pedals to the seat, height off the ground, the actual length of it, the height of it, just things like that. And this is something that some of these measurements, like this, was taken from the old bike, the distance from the pedals to the seat, but a lot of this is freehand drawn because it just has to meet the distance of the length, and that just goes into that. So I mean, you just have to pay attention to all of the parts of the bike, but a lot of this for me was actually freehanding. And then measurements like your distance for the wheel, the seat height I took from an existing chair that I like the height of. So just things like that. I mean, pull as many measurements as you can from somewhere else so that you don't have to sit there and do the math all the time. I found that to be really helpful. So from here, we then take it a step up and put together a full-size cardboard template. And again, it's the same thing. I just had to make sure that these measurements here were met. This is it doesn't show distance from the ground, obviously, but I had to make sure that this distance was correct so that the seat would be high enough off the ground. This distance from the pedals to the seat has to be correct. And then this was a whole bunch of freehand. So this is up to me design-wise, which was kind of nice. I kind of enjoyed having that freedom in doing that. It really kind of freed me up stylistically and things like that. And it didn't affect some of the key measurements that you need. At least I think so. I have yet to write it, so we'll see. But that's how far I've gotten so far. I've gotten to a full-size template. And this is what I will use to actually cut out the pieces when I glue them together and dowel rod construction. So that's pretty much it. This is still, even though I have a full-size template, it's going to be a work in progress in terms of design, because I may find something during construction that doesn't fly, or I found an easier way of doing it if I could just tweak the design this way. So this may not be the final design that you see. So just keep that in mind as you're designing too, that your design process, I believe, should be kept fluid and easily changed. So that's pretty much it. It's ready to start construction, and I'll show you a little bit of that when I get there.